Okay, so I've been giving more thought to the radiator situation here, and I've decided that I'm going to try and work with the existing radiator, that is the 95 diesel radiator, and modify my core support. Worst case scenario, I have to buy a new core support and a new rad. Best case scenario, doesn't cost me anything but a little bit of time modifying this core support. This core support was okay, but it wasn't spectacular. It does need some patching along the bottom, along this typical rust point, actually back here. But in any case, I'm going to try that out. And I did a little bit of measuring, calculating, blah, blah, blah. And worked out that to keep, so that I can still use my stock battery box, the furthest over the battery box can go is the edge of this this top edge of the core support, and that puts it over here, or thereabouts there, and that still gives plenty of room for me to move the core support over enough that it clears that mount over there, so I don't have to make any modifications on that side. But I modify this side and tighten it up against here, and this will be right up against the edge of where the fender will go. I was just measuring that because this would be the edge of where the fender would go. So I think it'll work out well. I'll have to open up the front part of the grill. It's going to need a fair bit of modification here to the to that side of the core support, but I don't think it's a big deal. So now it's just a question of doing it. Personally, I think what I'm going to do is, this is just thoughts for the future. I'm going to give it some more thought. What this would mean is that I would not be able to bring the air conditioning lines out in the stock location, because they're really going to end up being covered up by this brace, because they come through here and here, I believe, and mount to the core. Now this will move over. This hole will be, the hole that's, well, this hole here will be obscured by the moved core support bracket for the radiator there, and this one will be kind of buried underneath the battery box. I guess it would have been anyways, but in any case, they're not going to be easy to deal with there. So when I do finally go with a more likely than not an aftermarket system, I'll have to be clever about my routing there. Now the other thing I was going to do was I want an auxiliary battery box here, and that's going to go on this side. They were available in these trucks apparently as an option. I can actually get an auxiliary battery box, which I think is just a mirror image of the other passenger side battery box sitting over there, and make a few modifications to the core for that here. I should be able to work everything out that way. This cradle over on this side will have to move, like about half an inch over, but otherwise it shouldn't be a problem. So I guess the question is, do I do that now, or do I test my cab fitment here so that I can get that worked out? Because if the cab fitment says that the engine has to move, it will affect what I do with the core support. So blah blah blah. It looks like I'll be rolling this frame around again, back outside, and trying to drop this cab on the frame to size it up for how it's supposed to fit, which is going to be a bit of fun because my clearance is very tight here. So let's get going. Okay, so the frame is turned around in the shop here, all lined up and ready to go with the hoist when I want to put this cab on here. I'm still debating about this whole radiator core support thing here, so I don't know, I gotta figure it out. Like it's 6 1/2 dozen of another. You know, like I can, you know, make the other radiator, you know, like the radiator I've got fit, and it won't cost me anything. Or I can get another radiator, and I did look on eBay, and I can get an aluminum 3-core one that's supposed to be good for, you know, like a car that's got somewhere around 700-800 horsepower. No oil cooler, but then I can go and pick up another oil cooler. Oh yeah, $250 for that one, by the way. I can pick up an oil cooler for somewhere under $100, probably $50 actually, but you know, let's just say $100. So for $350, it's virtually no hassle, or you know, a couple of days work for free. So I don't know. I'm gonna think about it. I'm probably gonna go with the aluminum radiator, because you know, why make more work for myself? You know, like, it's not a huge amount of money, and I've spent a lot already on this thing. What's another $350? Well, probably all told with shipping and taxes and all the other rubbish, it's gonna be over $500. But yeah, well, give it some more thought. Anyways, I think that's it for today. Really just spent this evening just jockeying this frame around into the other direction, and believe me, it was no fun. I had to pull it around with the tractor, and that was exciting to say the least, doing that on my own, because I had to stop to make sure it wasn't going to roll down a reasonably steep hill on me here. Anyways, I'm calling it quits for today. Let's see if tomorrow I can't drop this cab on the frame and then determine my clearances here. Then once that's done, I'll have to make a decision on this, and I can figure out what I want to do with the with the cab. You know, like if the cab has to need some clearancing, or I have to get some, you know, move some things around, you know, I'll decide then what I'm going to do.